My name is Soraya Smith, and today I will be presenting my final portfolio for the ValueWise Surgical Undergraduate Fluency Plus program that I completed this spring semester for SOLS or MBB 484. The Surgical Undergraduate Research Fluency Plus program, also known as the SURF Plus program, was created by Dr. Foster over 20 years ago. He created this internship with the intention of offering undergraduate students the opportunity to engage in research at the Burn Center of ValueWise Health here in Phoenix, Arizona. The purpose of this program is to provide research exposure to students as well as exposure to the hospital setting in conjunction with clinical research. Now just a little bit of history about ValueWise Health and the SURF Plus program. ValueWise Health is also a statewide comprehensive public healthcare organization with branches all around the valley and all throughout the state, which makes this healthcare organization extremely accessible. ValueWise Health, and specifically the healthcare professionals at the Burn Center, value perseverance, determination, and knowledge. Everyone on the Burn Center floor is extremely dedicated to their patients. They want their patients to get better. They know that it is a long and tedious process, but they go after it anyways with the goal of helping this person recover from their intense trauma. But they also really focus on wanting to make improvements, and that's how the SURF Plus program comes into play. So the SURF Plus program is structured in a unique sort of way. The Department of Surgery at ValueWise Health oversees many ongoing research initiatives and includes the Arizona Burn Center and Trauma Center. Being the largest burn center in the nation, the Burn Center includes 7 different parts: the Burn Intensive Care Unit, the Burn Emergency Department, Burn Adult, Burn Pediatric, Burn Progressive Care, and Burn Med Surgery. The Burn Center itself is completely committed to engaging in research, and they have actually successfully expanded the SURF Plus program beyond just the Department of Surgery at the Burn Center, but to also include projects within other departments. For example, last summer, students were given the opportunity to engage in research with the radiology department, which had never been done before. My duties and responsibilities as an adjunct research assistant, or ARA, includes attending meetings, data collection, data entry, and research paper drafting. Before the corona outbreak, meetings were held about every 2 weeks, and that just depended on whether or not we received new data to sort through. And the study that I was working on had to do with staffing patterns and how those patterns relate to patient outcomes. This study takes data from 2018 to 2019, and we're looking at almost 50 different factors. Some of these factors can include the number of patients in restraints, the number of patients on continuous renal replacement therapy, how many people were on staff for the day and night shift, what kind of healthcare professional was present during those day and night shifts. The list goes on and on. So my responsibility was to sort through all of the information provided from various Excel sheets that were pulled from 5 different databases that were not compatible with each other, and input all of that data into a main spreadsheet. As for research paper drafting, we're not nearly as close as we had hoped to be, especially now with the corona outbreak. Research has definitely hit a break, but hopefully we can get back on track this summer and keep pushing on. As an ARA, I am always required to have my badge present. I have to wear business attire at all times, and I have to complete all of my correspondence with my coworkers through the Outlook email program. There are also different rules that need to be followed during the shadowing opportunities that are offered. For example, we have to be approved beforehand by the operating room staff and the research supervisors before we can enter and be present in an OR. While we're in the OR, we have to wear clean scrubs, we have to put covers over our shoes, we have to cover our hair with hair nets, we have to have our badge present, and we also have to have goggles on. I would say that the most important rule during these shadow opportunities was to avoid the sterile field. I have stood only 2 feet away from open brain surgery, 5 feet away from a burn patient who was going through debridement in the operating room, who had about 75% of their body covered in burns. To be able to do that, I had to avoid the sterile field, which was the cart that held all of the tools that the surgeons were using to complete the surgeries. If my scrubs were to slightly even touch the side of the cart, they would have to stop the surgery. They would have to bring in all new tools, a whole new cart. Everyone would have to rewash and glove up again, and you definitely did not want to be the undergraduate student who did that. Luckily, that was never me, but apparently it has happened before. Just a little bit more about this worksite. There were positive and negative aspects to this internship. One positive was that I had the opportunity to learn about intense burn treatment. I did not realize how extreme burn treatment could be until I saw it with my own eyes. These patients will undergo dozens of surgeries and could stay in the ICU for anywhere from a couple of days to over a year. But these healthcare professionals, the surgeons, the nurses, the physical therapists, make miracles happen. And that was amazing to see and learn about. Another positive was that I was able to observe the routines of different types of healthcare workers in different parts of the hospital. What the clinical research nurses do is completely different from what the floor nurses do. The clinical research nurses sit behind a desk and make dozens of phone calls a day, meet with a dozen people a day, and always have stacks of paperwork surrounding them. The nurses on the burn floor are often sweaty, are stressed, it seems like, but they are extremely focused and extremely determined to do their job to the best of their ability. It's interesting though, because even though they're doing completely different things, they have the same goal, and that is to improve these outcomes for the burn patients. There were some negative things about the internship. There was times of confusion and of stress, and that had to do with coordination. I think with the nature of the research that I was completing, it was tough to have a consistent schedule, and that did not make things easy for the SOLS internship credit, but I got through it with the help of my amazing instructor, Serena Christensen, and with the support of my mentors. I learned about my strengths and weaknesses during this internship. For instance, I have great attention to detail. I have an extremely positive attitude. However, I was also proactive. I always came to meetings with all of my questions ready to go in order to make the best use of our time. I learned that I have some weaknesses as well, including Excel, meeting self-set deadlines, and not taking full advantage of additional opportunities. Although my mentors believe I'm an Excel genius, I'm not. I merely know how to drag columns down or complete strike-throughs through an Excel document. Beyond that, I had to teach myself a lot, and I think that was definitely a weakness that can be remedied. Since the data entry was not expected or could not have been done on a continual basis, my mentors never set true deadlines for me. However, I set deadlines for myself, and I think that was hard to keep up with. When your supervisor sets a deadline, you know you're going to complete it because you don't want to disappoint them. But it's different when you set a deadline for yourself because you give yourself more slack and more leeway. And I definitely want to improve on that. I want to meet my own deadlines in order to relieve some of the stress that I experience. Also, I did not take full advantage of the additional opportunities, which I will review in a few slides. I had two of the most amazing mentors a research intern could ask for, Tiffany Hockenberry and Suzanne Osborne. Both are registered nurses and also clinical research nurses. Tiffany Hockenberry was just promoted to director of the nursing of the Burn Center. Both of my mentors are extremely approachable, super friendly, extremely understanding, very supportive. They set clear expectations, they emphasize the importance of teamwork, and I believe they conducted fair performance reviews. I've been a part of research internships in the past where the students were not each other's friends, that we were all there to compete with one another, not to work together. And I've had mentors in the past in these internships who were not supportive, who were extremely condescending, and they did not foster a good environment for learning. My mentors were the complete opposite. They have made sure that I received every opportunity possible in this program by inviting me to burn expos, by letting me sit in on meetings with Dr. Foster, and by letting me observe surgeries that are outside of the burn unit. I would advise students who are interested in applying for the SURF Plus program to take Bio 201 and 202, Anatomy and Physiology, and HCR 210, Clinical Healthcare Ethics. The Anatomy and Phys classes helped me understand the biological science behind these patient outcomes. For example, having a strong understanding of the renal system that you learn in Bio 202 helped me understand the effect of different compounds and different IV fluids that are given to trauma patients or burn patients. Clinical healthcare ethics in HCR 210 actually covered a little bit of clinical research. I definitely learned more about clinical research in my internship. However, HCR 210, I believe, was a good introduction. Finally, I have not taken IEE 320 Extreme Excel. However, as I said earlier, I lack in Excel skills, and this, I believe, is a one-credit class that is a Session A or Session B class available fall and spring semester. And I strongly believe that having good Excel skills will make the input of data and the organization of the data much, much easier. So what did I gain out of this internship? I was accepted into this program in the summer of 2019. I was an ARA in the fall semester of 2019 and this spring semester of 2020. I learned about how complex research can be. There is a ton of paperwork that goes into conducting a research project like mine, where the main focus was to collect and organize data, which goes into the organizing and collection of academic research. It's not as clear cut as I thought it would be. I think we kind of make it up as we go, and that's where teamwork comes into play. Everyone shares their ideas, and we figure out the best way to complete the research that we want to complete. I learned about clinical trials and the federal regulations, policy, and ethical guidelines for human subjects in research. This research did not actually use human subjects. We merely collected data from the human subjects. But I was able to get an idea of what the behind the scenes are in creating and managing a clinical research project. This internship was amazing. There were so many additional opportunities that I was able to take a part of, like networking, observing surgeries in the OR, gaining shadowing experience that is important for med school applications, and attending different lectures from surgeons from different units and from nurses from different units. I just want to say thank you to Serena Christensen, my instructor, for all of your support. I could not have done these past 2 semesters without you, and I am excited to see where all of this takes me in the next couple of years. Thank you.